That means there's going to be loneliness and introspection and social isolation and found family and unlikely friendships. Yes, please. So it's November 27th, so that means I still have 4 full days. For some reason, I'm counting today as a full day, even though it's already 5 p.m. and really dark out. I have 4 full days to get through my current reads. So I'm about 40% through Last Night in Montreal by Emily St. John Mandel. And oh my gosh, do I love her. This is the 4th book of hers that I've read, and I think 2 of her books are absolute masterpieces. The 3rd, The Glass Hotel, was not my thing, but that's okay. I still liked it, I just wasn't blown away by it. But this I'm really, really enjoying. I'm listening to the audiobook and occasionally following along in the book. There's a lot of stuff on like the importance of language, meditation on identity, and I really like where it's going. I hope I'll like the second half as much as I liked the first half. This is hilarious. I'm on the 3rd chapter right now about broken hair and grave robbing, but I want to put a solid dent into this probably today. So I really like the way Sam Kean structured this book, is that it's going not only thematically but also chronologically. So the first chapter is about piracy and it was set in the 1700s, and then the subsequent chapter is also set in the later 1700s, early 1800s, and covers slavery. The one after that is now covering like grave robbing and like broken hair, dealing in corpses and stuff. So I feel like he's progressing throughout history, and I'm really excited that we're getting into stuff that's a little more modern. Like, I'm more interested in like 20th century scientific depravity, so this is really good so far. I'm having a great time. And then this only counts as a current read in name because I've read the first few pages. So far I liked them. I read them on the e-reader and I was like, no, I think I might want to annotate this book, so I'm now saving it to read it in person. I want to get past the first few pages, probably sometime later today. Yeah. This is really good, and it's tonally super similar to Our Missing Hearts, which I finished not too long ago, so I'm trying to give myself enough space between the two just so that I don't conflate them. So we'll see how that goes. So in December, I have a couple of things I need to read, quote unquote. I have 2 book club books. I have 2 advanced readers copies, and then I thought it would be fun to tell you some of my 5-star predictions. So there's a couple of books I've been saving, and I feel like I'm gonna absolutely love them, and they're gonna like become part of my personality. So I'm very excited for that. Yesterday I was at a party and someone found it very amusing that I was in multiple book clubs, and this somehow came out after I mentioned that I'd been starting BookTube. So anyway, that's the story of why I can't be allowed to socialize in the wild, apparently. Let's talk about the first of my books and just pretend that I didn't tell you that. Okay. Okay, so the first of my book club books is Still Life by Louise Penny. So I have never read anything of Louise Penny's. I don't know her work at all. I have a vague idea that she's like a pharmacy airport kind of writer. Like, that's where you find her books. I might be completely wrong. I might be mixing her up with someone else. If I am so sorry. I'm going into this book in good faith. It seems like a small, sleepy town cozy murder mystery. A painter gets murdered in a town that's so small it doesn't even have a police force. So that sounds fun, and I think it's set in Quebec / also somewhat in Montreal, and it's always fun to read books set in places you know, and like, be like, oh yeah, I've been there. Oh, this is so fun. So I'm really excited for that. The other book club choice is from the Goodreads Discord book club that has been wonderful and also very supportive of my BookTube endeavors. Hi friends. And that is True Biz by Sarah Nović. And this looks very, very interesting. The students at the River Valley School for the Deaf just want to hook up, pass their history final, and have doctors, politicians, and their parents stop telling them what to do with their bodies. This revelatory novel plunges readers into the halls of a residential school for the deaf, where they'll meet Charlie, a rebellious transfer student who's never met another deaf person, Austin, the school's golden boy, whose world is rocked when his baby sister is born hearing, and February, the headmistress, who is fighting to keep her school open and her marriage intact, but might not be able to do both. As a series of crises, both personal and political, threaten to unravel each of them, Charlie, Austin, and February find their lives inextricable from one another, and changed forever. This is a story of sign language and lip reading, cochlear implants and civil rights, isolation and injustice, first love and loss, and above all, great persistence, daring, and joy. Absorbing and assured, idiosyncratic and relatable, this is an unforgettable journey into the deaf community and a universal celebration of human connection. I don't know a lot about deaf culture. I don't have any first or secondhand experience in it, so I'm really intrigued to read a book that centers multiple deaf characters and is written by a deaf author. I think this is going to be really cool. And right now my library hold says it's going to come in 10 weeks, but my experience with Libby wait times is that they're very inaccurate if there's holidays coming up or if it's exam season. Hopefully that 10-week estimated wait time goes down to like a 3-week estimated wait time, and I get to finish it this month when my book club is reading it, and also before 2023. Fingers crossed. So the next 2 books I was really kindly given by the publisher through NetGalley. So both of these will be coming out on February 7th, 2023, so I'm reading them as advanced readers copies. So for those of you who don't know, NetGalley is a website where publishers will put at calls for readers for upcoming releases, and the more prestigious the publisher and the more anticipated the title, the harder it is to be accepted into reviewing some books. And I only got into this recently, so I've mostly been getting books from lesser known authors and lesser known publishers, but I'm really excited about these 2. They look super cool, and I feel very, very lucky that I got to get advanced readers copies for them. The first book that I got is called Skullwater. So it's a family saga based against a political backdrop, which are both things that I absolutely love. And then it explores identity and family and folk tales and modernity. Like, these are all things that I absolutely love in a book. I'm very excited about it. Set in South Korea in the 1950s and 70s, a haunting intergenerational coming-of-age novel about identity and displacement. Skullwater is a coming-of-age story set in South Korea about Insu, the son of a Korean mother and a GI father in the US Army, and an intertwined tale of his Korean big uncle, who has been exiled to a mountain cave near the family village to die from a gangrenous foot. Growing up near the army base in the aftermath of the Vietnam War, Insu and his 2 best friends, also half and halves, spend their days skipping school, selling scavenged Western goods on the black market, and testing the boundaries between childhood and adulthood. When Insu hears an old legend that water collected from a dead person's skull will cure any sickness, he vows to collect some in order to heal Big Uncle's mysterious injury. A quest that takes him and his friends on a sprawling journey into some of South Korea's darkest corners. Meanwhile, Big Uncle, a geomancer who was uprooted by the Korean War, has embraced its solitude and fate and attempts to teach his nephew that life is not limited to what we can see and what we think we know. As Insu becomes increasingly drawn to his family lore, Korean folktales, and Buddhist spiritual teachings, South Korea itself is changing, rapidly transforming into a more modern Western country. In this sweeping tale of displacement and identity, Skullwater explores questions surrounding family, loyalty, and history, and the ways in which our pasts continue to haunt our present. This is so up my alley. I cannot believe I got to read I have a copy of this book. I'm so excited. So yeah, this looks like literary fiction, completely up my alley. I cannot wait to read it. Also, the cover is beautiful. It's so pretty, and I expect this to be lyrical and beautiful and very moving. I hope it's going to be, fingers crossed. The next book that I have an advanced reader's copy of is called Ashes. It's a graphic novel, and it's the author's first English language graphic novel. So he's a relatively well-established graphic novelist in Spain, but has not yet put out a book in English, and this is the first one. And I really like the art style. There's something like kind of whimsical and charming about this. I really like road trips, and this is a road trip book. I love road trip books. It forces characters to face themselves and each other in really interesting ways. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. The book centers 3 characters who haven't seen each other in years, and then they just pile into a car for a long journey to a mysterious cross marked on a map. All their old personality quirks and conflicts are resurrected with new wrinkles as the surreal reunion gets underway. Up ahead, car chases, alcohol, roadside motels, banjo-playing thugs, a ship graveyard, violence, sensual tension, and of course, a monkey. It's definitely different from what I usually read, but there's something about this that just has me completely intrigued, and I think I'm gonna love it. It actually has a decent amount of reviews now that I'm looking at it, because I think it's the English language debut specifically that's coming out in February, but this already has almost 500 ratings on Goodreads and is very close to a 4-star, so I think it's gonna be great. I'm so excited to read this and for it to come out in English. So there are 4 more books that I want to talk to you about. These are my 4 books that I'm like, they're probably going to be 5-star reads. Like, I am fully anticipating these to be at least 4, but probably 5-star reads. And that's probably because of how they've been, like, how I've conceptualized them in my head. So I'm almost scared of reading them because I'm scared of being disappointed. But, like, there's something about each one of them that just, like, fills me with glee. So the first one's called The Actual Star. And the reason my brain has latched onto this is that it's described as David Mitchell's Cloud Atlas meets Octavia Butler's Earthseed series. I didn't love Cloud Atlas. I liked the concept, not the execution, but I love Earthseed so much. I love Octavia Butler so much. If a book is compared to that, I'm already like, yes, I'm in. Please give. Please give to me. It is mine now. And then they had me at my favorite words. A brilliant multi-generational saga spanning 2,000 years, from the collapse of the ancient Maya to a far future utopia on the brink of a civil war. Listen, if you're gonna write speculative fiction and a family saga, I'm in. If you're gonna write speculative fiction that follows people throughout the generations and the past and present and future histories all come together, yes, I am in. I am interested. You then get compared to Octavia Butler when you do that. That's the recipe for a 5-star read for me. So it sounds wild. I can't wait. It takes the readers on a journey over thousands of years and 6 continents, collapsing 3 separate timelines into one cave in the Belizean jungle. This book is 600 pages, so I feel like it's going to be just like a feast. Like, I'm so, I can't wait. I can't wait to read this. An epic saga of 3 reincarnated souls, this novel demonstrates the entanglement of tradition and progress, sister and stranger, love and hate. The book jumps forward and backwards in time among a pair of twins who rule the Mayan kingdom, a young American on a trip of self-discovery, and 2 dangerous charismatics in a conflict that will determine the fate of the few humans left on Earth after massive climate change. I love climate fiction. I love climate horror fiction so much. I love human beings being like, well, we messed up. This is really freaking bad. Let's do something about it. Most of my Goodreads friends have not read it. One person has, and they didn't really like it, so I'm a little nervous about that, but it has all the ingredients for what makes me love a book. So I really hope that it's gonna do that. I really hope I'm gonna love it. Okay, what else has all the ingredients of what I love in a book? Remarkably bright creatures. Already, if a book starts off with the premise that there's an octopus and they're an important character and they're befriended, I am already invested. You have my attention. Yes, please. Then this book gets compared to a man called Uv. Yes. That means there's going to be loneliness and introspection and social isolation and found family and unlikely friendships. Yes, please. With an octopus! I love octopi. So it basically follows a character who, after she gets widowed, begins working the night shift at an aquarium. And she's like mopping floors, doing custodial work. Keeping busy has always helped her cope, which she's been doing since her 18-year-old son Eric mysteriously vanished on a boat over 30 years ago. Oh, so she's like much older. Okay, lovely. Grandma and octopus. Okay, those are the unlikely friends I am here for. I am here for grandma and octopus friendship. So the main character becomes acquainted with a giant Pacific octopus named Marcellus, and he knows more than anyone can imagine, but wouldn't dream of lifting one of his 8 arms for his human captors, until he forms a remarkable friendship with our main character. So the bit that's getting me here is that the octopus deduces what happened the night when our main character's son disappeared, and he uses every trick in his old invertebrate body to unearth the truth for her before it's too late. Like, I don't... There's magic realism, there's unlikely friendships, there's characters who don't usually get to be main characters. Like, I love books that star older women. We don't get to see them as great characters very often. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this, and I've just ever since I heard about this book, I knew that I would love it. Like, if this doesn't get 5 stars from me, it's gonna be because something went terribly wrong. Okay, the next book is, I think, probably the book I've heard hyped up the most. Like, every single person who knows about this book has been saying it is absolutely incredible and unreal, and that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which is a great title. What I know about this title is that it's about 2 friends who meet in a hospital. Like, I think one of them is currently being hospitalized and the other one's visiting a family member or like a sibling, and they meet in like the playroom of the hospital and develop a bond over video games, and then go on as adults to get into video game development. But while the book talks a lot about gaming, it really focuses on their friendship, and it's like character study of these 2 people, and I love a good character study. I love a good relational study. Yeah, and it seems like they get into game development and I think make a game together that like it's described as a blockbuster. Like, overnight the world's theirs. They have this huge like commercial success from this game. The book spans 30 years, multiple places, and examines identity, disability, failure, and the redemptive possibilities in play. And above all, our need to connect, to be loved, and to love. Yes, it is a love story, but it is not one that you've read before. This has probably been the book that's been the most hyped up for me all year. If this is not a 5-star read, I'm going to demand a refund, which won't be applicable because I borrowed this from the library, but I will be demanding a refund anyway. I'll be demanding my time back. No, I've heard incredible things. Like, I'm really hoping I like it. I'm really hoping that I like it as much as other people have, because it looks awesome. Okay, then the last book that I think is going to be a 5-star read, because Gabor Mate's books usually are 5-star reads for me, is The Myth of Normal. I think this book has a huge scope, mostly talking about how we perceive normality in a society where most people have some form of illness or some form of disability or some form of social inequality. Like, what is normal, and is that construct useful? And also, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on how personal history affects normality. So Gabor Mate is very deeply embedded within the trauma and stress research and treatment community. Like, he is very interested in trauma and its widespread social and health effects. So I'm sure that's going to like permeate every aspect of this book. And so it's a nonfiction book that's going to like really explore humanity. I'm very excited for this. I bought the audiobook a couple of months ago, and I've been waiting for the right time to start digging into this. I love listening to his books because they're read by his son, Daniel, who co-wrote this book. Predicting that this is a 5-star read kind of feels like cheating. Like, all of Gabor's books have previously been 5-star reads for me. So this was an extremely measured TBR, very small. I still have a couple of books I need to finish, and I have some books left over from my October and November TBR that I still kind of want to sneak into this month. But these are the 8 that I'm like, okay, if I don't get to some of those other books, if I don't get to them until January, that's fine. But these are like the 8 that I'm like, yes, I need to read them in the upcoming few weeks. Because either I need them for a book club, I have the advanced reader's copy and I want to read them before they're published, or I just think they're going to be so good and I've been saving them and I can't wait to hang out in them. So let me know if you're planning on reading any of these or if you've read them and if you liked them, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, bye. And I just got a visitor. Hi, visitor. She doesn't like being picked up. Do this for your fans. Everyone loves Plume. She's gonna eat me in my sleep. This is a cat that's gonna eat me in my sleep. Yeah, you wanna go down. Okay, okay.